All right, let's bring in Cara Truss, a Chicagoan and director of the Community Roundtable. Good to have you back on the program, and welcome back to you. So,
Hi.
What's your reaction to that?
Well, first of all, we have to keep in mind that Mayor Brandon Johnson is on the campaign tour, and he is campaigning now to be reelected as mayor. And the fact of the matter is, Mayor Johnson has 99 problems, and President Trump is not one of them. There's the $988 million budget deficit that the city is going to be facing. RTA has a $770 million budget deficit. Chicago Public Schools, $550 deficit. Chicago Transit Authority, over $500 million deficit. So no, the mayor of Chicago does not have time to be worried about what is happening with President Trump. He has his own issues. And I think that we need to remind him that we have been unhappy with him. You know, we're talking about a man with the single-digit approval rating. What else is he going to talk about on a campaign trail? He certainly can't talk about himself.
Well, we certainly hear the frustration in your voice, Cara, and we have for quite some time. To your point, it's weekend after weekend we see headlines like this. This is Fox 32 Chicago. Chicago crime, 24 shot, 3 killed over Memorial Day weekend, according to police. Yet Mayor Johnson continues to claim that he's making the city better, and he's working to make it safer, and that violence is actually going down. Listen.
The key investments that we are making continue to push forth our effort to build the safest, most affordable big city in America. Our investments are clearly having some strong returns as violence continues to go down in the city of Chicago.
It's tough to find evidence of those strong returns because crime is still up. It's running rampant. And people are still fleeing the city because of it.
It is still up. And let me tell you something, and I think I talked about this. You know, Mayor Johnson and Illinois officials love to talk about how crime is down. Yes, crime is down a small amount of what it was last year, but not down so much that you could be somewhere bragging about how crime is not happening here in the city. I told you guys a couple of months ago, my husband was literally carjacked in front of our house, and I live 3 blocks from the mayor. So don't tell me about how crime is down and that the citizens of Chicago are happy with this administration and we're happy with what we're seeing, because we're not. You're the same mayor that we was unhappy with in 2023 when I first started on this platform. Nothing has changed about that.
So frustrating. And I mean, we see all those big, companies that said they just had to leave because it was tough to attract and retain top talent and have them bring their families into the city because of the crime that was happening. I want to finish up with this. I mean, it's unbelievable, some of the words he chooses. This is Mayor Johnson comparing acts of the Trump administration to those of Nazi Germany. He said this just yesterday.
We're also watching in plain sight the President of the United States of America carry out the playbook that was done against an entire people group, and he's doing it right here in this country, against working people, erasing black folks from museums and the history and the culture.
I got a final thought from you on that, Cara.
Well, my final thoughts on that is that I do think that there is some moves being made to eliminate how blacks are displayed in history. I have issues with that, and we'll deal with that. But the fact of the matter is as black people, it is our responsibility to cultivate our history, nobody else's. So we have to do that ourselves. So we're not going to put that on the president or on the country. But what we are going to say to the American people and to Chicagoans, don't fall for the okie doke. Don't get caught up in that, oh, well, let's talk about what's happening today stuff. Let's not forget about how Mayor Johnson and this city and these elected officials have really disinvested in the people here. Let's talk about the fact that this city spent almost $1 million to house and support newcomers. Let's talk about the fact that 52,000 people arrived in this city at a time when we couldn't care for the people who were already here. Let's talk about the fact that our mayor could have at any point said, enough, we have too many, instead of saying we could continue to take people. That was not using common sense. This mayor does not use common sense very often.
Yeah, we hear the urgency and the frustration in your voice. Hope your husband's okay, by the way. That's a lot. And I know that you've been joining us all throughout this, you know, when some of those abandoned school buildings, while report cards are awful in the city and the state of Illinois, those abandoned school buildings that were filled with migrants and the parks being taken over that kids couldn't go play soccer in anymore. It's been a lot for so many in Chicago to deal with, and we appreciate you coming on your big voice.
Can I just leave you with this one point?
Sure.
We have 20 schools here in Chicago where not one child, high schools, where not one child can read or perform math at grade level. And so for our little teacher who's now the mayor, deal with that.
Wow. We will have you back, Cara. Thank you so much. Appreciate you coming on.
Hey, it's Will Kane. Click here to subscribe to the Fox News channel on YouTube. It's the best way to get our latest interviews and highlights. And click to subscribe to the Will Kane podcast for full episodes right now.